Be me, 29 EF, work in digital marketing at some buzzy startup in Austin. Basically paid to post. Takes and say, this is problematic in meetings. Friends joke, I'm a walking think piece. Honestly, take that as praise, married to Matt, 31. Met sophomore year, been married about 4 years. He's a back-end engineer, total STEM, brain nice, steady, never dramatic, checks every box. People say you should basically hit the jackpot, husband-wise, and somehow that's exactly the issue because it's all very traditional lately. Feel boxed in, not by Matt as a person, but by marriage itself. This whole system that historically turned women into property, spend all day picking apart power structures, then come home and live inside, the most default one possible, feels fake, like I'm cosplaying my own beliefs, been deep in articles, podcasts, all that relationship theory, non-monogamy discourse. My feed knows what I'm into. Just endless slideshows about ethical non-monogamy, plus smiling triads on beaches in Europe. Everyone looks so free and emotionally evolved. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on my couch feeling stuck. Best friend is Jess, also 29F. I hadn't known her since freshman orientation. She teaches high school English, total sweetheart, but very into the idea of the one, still believes in lifelong soulmates. I've been trying to gently rewire that thinking for years. Peel back the Disney conditioning. She just laughs and says, she wants what her parents have, can't even argue with her. She's too nice, then new guy shows up at work. Ethan, senior designer, full arm tattoo. Looks like some quote from Virginia Woolf, always in those eco beanies. Casually mentions doing ayahuasca in Peru. Like it's normal, basically built in a lab to be my exact type. We click instantly, start chatting on Slack all the time, flirting, but make it intellectual, dropping Michel Foucault and Judith Butler, references like, it's foreplay, it's all very brainy, but also kind of electric. Haven't felt that buzz in years. Meanwhile, Matt's idea of bonding is us doing the New York Times crossword on Sundays, which is adorable, but not exactly life-altering. One night, I'm lying in bed, doom scrolling, see a post from some influencer I follow her husband, and her girlfriend, holding hands on a beach. Caption goes on about decolonizing love and all that. And it just hits me like suddenly everything clicks. This is the solution. I don't actually want to leave Matt. He's still my person, in a lot of ways, my home base. But I also want whatever this thing with Ethan is, and why should I have to pick, isn't refusing to choose the most empowering move possible. Decide, I'm gonna bring it up to Matt, spend like 2 full days preparing, literally outlining my argument, like it's a thesis defense. Point 1, monogamy is constructed. Point 2, strong relationships can adapt. Point 3, radical honesty will deepen intimacy. Feel very ready. Tuesday night. Matt just finished washing dishes from dinner. He made now on the couch playing The Legend of Zelda on his Switch peak. Peaceful domestic scene for a second. I almost drop it, just stay in this life and be content. But that old college version of me, the one who read Butler at 2 a.m. and felt understood, won't let it go. Tell him we need to talk. He pauses the game immediately, full attention. No hesitation, that's just who he is, asks what's going on. I go straight into my whole speech, talk about societal expectations, limits of the nuclear family, how relationships can evolve, throw around words like framework and heteronormativity. He's trying so hard to keep up nodding along, but his eyes are getting bigger, like he's watching something he doesn't fully understand. Eventually I say it. We should try an open marriage room, goes dead quiet. Only sound is faint dungeon music from his game. He just stares at me. You mean date other people? His voice is small. I say yes, but ethically with communication, boundaries, check-ins, not chaos, more like growth presenting it. Like it's some enlightened upgrade. He asks if there's someone specific, straight to the point that stings. I dodge it, say. It's not about a person, it's about principles. About me becoming my full self, redirected into my personal development journey, smooth, practiced, I know how to frame things. He goes quiet, stands up, walks to the window. Just looks outside for a while, says he doesn't want to lose me. Voice cracks a little, feel that guilt hit, but shove it down, tell myself. This is for us. He just doesn't get it. Yet. I hug him from behind, tell him this will make us stronger, that I'm not going anywhere. He doesn't answer right away. then lets out this heavy sigh like it came from deep in his chest and just says, "Okay, just like that. No fight, no argument. Okay? If this is what you need, then okay." Honestly caught off guard, expected pushback, maybe weeks of talking it through. Instead, he folds instantly. Part of me feels relieved, other part feels weirdly underwhelmed, and somewhere in the back of my mind, there's this quiet thought. He folded way too easily. Push it down immediately. This is progress, not weakness. We spend the next hour going over guidelines, which really just means me listing rules, while he nods along protection. Obviously no bringing anyone back to our place full disclosure before any first date. No catching feelings. I emphasize that one hard, mostly for him. I'm confident I can separate physical and emotional, not convinced he can also add veto power. If either of us feels weird about someone, it's done. He agrees to everything, doesn't push back. Once he looks drained, like someone unplugged him, but still says yes to it all. We go to bed, he turns away from me. No cuddling. No Pravichnia spooning, first time in years. Tell myself it's a small cost for freedom. Next morning, I feel wired, like I just unlocked a new version of life. Meet Jess for lunch, tell her everything. Expect shock, maybe judgment. Instead, she just listens quietly. Face giving nothing away, just says, "Wow, that's a big move." I tell her, it's the right move for my independence, my identity. She asks how Matt is handling it. I immediately spin it, say he's been incredible, super supportive, paint him as enlightened. She stirs her iced tea, slowly asks if he's actually happy. Question just hangs there. I answer too fast. Say his happiness is tied to mine. He'll adjust. He just needs to unlearn the conditioning. She nods but doesn't agree, just changes the topic. It irritates me more than it should. Why can't she just support me? Why does she have to be so cautious? Later that day at work, catch Ethan in the break room making coffee. I drop it casually, tell him my partner and I open things up, try to sound chill about it. His face lights up immediately, says that's based, loves the honesty. I take that as my cue, ask if he wants to explore whatever this is, outside of work, heart pounding. The whole time he smiles like he was expecting it, says he's been waiting for me to say that. We set up Friday night, tell Matt the next evening, just mention I've got a date. He asks who with, barely looking away from his laptop. I say Ethan from work. He just says, "Okay, have fun." That's it. No reaction, no curiosity. It's exactly what I asked for, but it feels off. Part of me wanted at least a little jealousy. Something immediately call myself out for thinking that Friday comes. I spend 2 full hours getting ready, pick a dress he's never seen before, feel weirdly excited, like high school nerves all over again, go to say goodbye. He's on the couch, same as always when I lean in. He kind of pulls back, gives me his cheek, instead feels distant, almost formal, tells me to have a good time without looking at me. I brush it off and leave. Date itself is fine. We go to one of those trendy wine spots, everything natural and tastes like dirt. He talks a lot mostly about himself, his breakthroughs, his worldview, ranting about capitalism while using the newest phone, mentions his ex being too emotionally needy. Definitely a red flag. Ignore it. The spark we had online feels weaker in person. More like I'm sitting through a lecture. We go back to his place minimalist loft. Basically empty except for a mattress and one chair. Exactly what I expected. The whole vibe feels curated. Even the sex feels like a performance, like he's trying to prove something. I leave around 1 a.m., feel strangely hollow. Call a ride home. Apartment is dark when I get back. Matt's already asleep. Turn toward the edge of the bed, I slide in quietly. There's this huge space between us, like a physical gap. Expect guilt. Instead, just feel numb and tired. Next few weeks, settle into a routine. I see Ethan a couple more times, gets boring fast. He's basically a podcast on legs. Same recycled takes over and over, try a few dating apps. Total disaster guys claiming ethical non-monogamy, but really just want zero consequences. Others are awkward, emotionally stunted, or just weird. Nothing like the idealized version. I imagined it's mostly logistics and uncomfortable conversations. Meanwhile, Matt feels like a stranger in the apartment, polite but distant. He stops cooking for us. We eat separately. Now he's either in his office or out somewhere. One Saturday I ask where he's going. He's tying his running shoes. Says just the gym. He's been going a lot. Getting back in shape, losing weight. looking better than he has in years, also going out more with his own friends. Those same guys I always thought were boring old college crew beer nights, board games, whatever. He actually seems happy, just not with me. Like his life is happening somewhere else, and I'm not part of it. I try to bring it up, say we haven't really connected lately, ask if he's okay with everything. He just says he's fine, reminds me, this is what I wanted. We're being honest. Living independently. He uses my own words back at me, and I don't really have a response. It starts getting under my skin. He hasn't gone on a single date, not one. I finally ask him about it. He shrugs, says, he's just focusing on himself right now, says he's not interested. And weirdly, I feel both relieved and condescending, like, wow. He really can't handle this, poor Matt. This is too much for him. He's just waiting for me to get bored and come back. The thought is comforting and also kind of insulting at the same time. Bring it up with Jess at our usual brunch spot. Tell her I don't get it. I gave him freedom and he's not even using it. He's just withdrawn. She sets her fork down, slowly asks if I ever considered. It might not be a gift. I blink at her. What does that even mean? Of course it's a gift. She says a gift is something someone actually wants. Asks me if Matt ever said he wanted this. I open my mouth to argue. Nothing comes out. She tells me he's not me. Maybe he was already happy before all this. Her voice is calm, but it hits hard. I mumble that he agreed to it. She asks if he really agreed, or if I basically told him he should. I don't have an answer. Instead, I get annoyed, snap at her, say. She just doesn't get it because she's stuck in fairy tale thinking she looks hurt, but doesn't fight back, says. Maybe, or maybe she just knows Matt better than. I think conversation dies. After that, leaves a bad taste. And now there's this low anxiety sitting in my chest. The excitement is gone, completely gone. All that's left is distance, and it keeps growing. Decide, I'm done with this whole thing. A few months pass, it's fall. Now one night, Matt gets home late. He's been out more and more after work, but tonight feels different. He looks lighter, like actually happy. I tell him he seems in a good mood. He smiles, real smile, not forced. Says he had a great night. It almost hurts to look at. Ask what he did. Says he had dinner with a friend. I ask who. He hesitates for a second, then says it was Jess. My brain just stops. Jess? My Jess. He had dinner with her. Why, he says she had a rough week and needed to vent. So they grabbed food. It sounds harmless, but my stomach twists. Since when do they hang out alone? He just says. They've been talking more lately. Says she's easy to talk to. That one stings. I want to say, I'm easy to talk to, but I don't. I just nod and pretend it's fine. But something feels off, like really off. Next week, it happens again. I ask if he's going out with her again. Can't even hide the sarcasm. He doesn't notice, says, yeah, they're seeing a movie, like it's totally normal. This is starting to feel wrong. I call Jess the next day, try to sound casual, mention they've been hanging out a lot. She says, yeah, it's been nice, says he's actually really funny. I almost laugh funny. Matt. He tells Dad, jokes she keeps going, says he's been a really good friend, gives great advice. I ask what kind of advice, and suddenly I feel this cold wave hit me. They're talking about me. The jealousy that's been quietly sitting there suddenly goes full alarm mode. This was not part of the deal. The deal was dating other people, not bonding with my best friend behind my back. Try to tell myself I'm overreacting, that they're just friends, that this is literally what I asked for. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I've lost control of everything. Saturday, I'm supposed to go on a date, some guy from an app. I cancel last minute. Can't do it. Don't even want to. I just want my husband back. I wait for Matt to get home, decide I'm ending this tonight. We're going back to normal. He walks in around 9, same glow as before, and it irritates me instantly. I tell him we need to talk. He knows the tone, sits down across from me. I tell him I'm done. That this whole thing was a mistake that I wanted over. I look at him expecting relief, expect him to come back to me instead. He just looks calm, too calm, says, okay, like it's nothing. I clarify, say I want things, how they used to be. Just us again. He looks at me gently, says we can't do that. Feels like the ground drops out. I ask what he means. I started this. I can end it. He says it's not an experiment anymore, not for him. I ask what he's talking about. He takes a breath, says he's been seeing someone. I actually laugh like a sharp, ugly laugh. Tell him that makes no sense. He's either at the gym or with his friends who could he possibly be seeing? He says Jess just says it like that. Jess, the name just hangs there. I stare at him waiting for the punchline. There isn't one. His face is completely serious. I tell him to stop that. She's my best friend. He says he knows. I ask if they're sleeping together. He nods. Just one small nod, and it feels like everything shatters. I remind him of the rule, no. Falling in love. My voice is shaking, almost yelling. Now my own rule comes back and smacks me in the face. No falling in love. He says he knows. His voice is quiet, almost tired. Says he broke it. Says he's in love with her. Everything goes fuzzy for a second. Like my brain just shuts off my husband, in love with my best friend. No way, I barely get the words out. Ask how he could do this. Ask how she could. He says it just happened, says I wasn't really there anymore. I was out on dates building this whole separate life, and he was alone. Says she was lonely too. They started talking about everything about me. Of course they did. He says she actually listened to him, didn't analyze him, didn't turn his feelings into some theory. Just saw he was hurting his voice, get steadier as he talks. Says they fell for each other. Not planned, not some scheme, just real. And that word hits harder than anything real. I feel this insane rage building, like full body heat at him, for letting it happen at her, for betraying me, but mostly at myself. Because I set this whole thing in motion. I made this happen, handed it to them. Tell him to get out. Voice low at first, then louder. Then I'm yelling, grabbing whatever is nearby, throwing it at him. Pillows, magazines, the remote, anything. He doesn't even react, just stands there. Says his stuff is already packed, like he's been ready for this. Walks to the bedroom, comes back with 2 suitcases and a backpack. He planned this. He knew he stops at the door. Says he's sorry for how it happened, but not sorry that it did, and then he leaves. Door shuts just like that. I'm standing there surrounded by a mess I created, and I just drop. Sit on the floor and lose it. Full breakdown. Everything after that is blurry. I call Jess over and over, no answer. Finally get a text, says she can't talk, says she's sorry. But this is real, says they're together. I block her immediately, block both of them, everywhere, take a week off. Work, tell my boss. I'm sick, spend the whole time alone in the apartment, which now feels huge and empty. Drink wine, scroll through old messages, his texts, sweet, normal stuff. Reminding me about plans, telling me I look good, hers too. Inviting me to brunch, complaining about school, hyping me up. It feels like reading a eulogy for a life. I destroyed myself a month later. Divorce papers show up quick and clean. He doesn't fight anything. Doesn't want the apartment. Doesn't want money. Just wants out. That part stings the most. I'm not even worth arguing over. I'm just something to close out before he moves on with her. I try getting back into dating, open the apps again, same recycled profiles, same boring bios about hobbies and personality types, go on one date with a guy who calls himself a relationship anarchist. I almost throw my drink at him, can't do it. The whole thing feels fake now. All those ideas I believed in, they just feel empty, like dust. 6 months later, I'm at the grocery store standing in the freezer aisle trying to pick ice cream, like some sad cliche. And then I see them, Matt and Jess, by the checkout, laughing at something on his phone, his arm around her waist, her head resting on his shoulder. They look happy, like genuinely happy. She's glowing looks better than I've ever seen her. Simple dress. No pretense looking at him like he's everything the exact kind of look I used to make fun of. And on her hand a ring small, simple, but obvious. I literally duck behind a stack of frozen pizzas, heart pounding, watching them like some creep. They pay their hands brush while bagging groceries. Completely natural, like any normal couple. The kind I used to feel superior to. Like I had outgrown that life. Now I'm hiding in a grocery store aisle watching what I lost. They leave, I stay there a few more minutes, just in case, then abandon my cart and walk out. Sit in my car staring at myself in the mirror. Look exhausted. Look alone. Pull out my phone against my better judgment. Unblock. Jess, open her profile. First post. I see her hand with the ring, his hand holding it. Caption about saying yes. About loving her best friend. Thousands of likes. Hundreds of comments. People saying they're perfect together. I scroll through it all, like I'm watching my own funeral. I spent so much time tearing down the idea of the fairy tale didn't realize I was already in one thought. I was the main character in some bold new story. Turns out I was just the obstacle in theirs. Over a year passes. They get married small ceremony from what I can tell. Online, I see a photo, her in a simple white dress, him in a blue suit, standing under a big tree, holding hands. Both of them smiling like nothing else matters. And me. I have my apartment, my job, all my beliefs, all the independence I said I wanted, but I lie awake in a bed that feels way too big in silence, that isn't peaceful anymore, just loud. I had someone who loved me and a friend who was like family, and I thought having more options meant more freedom, didn't realize having enough was the real thing. I traded something real for an idea, and now all I have left is the idea. Sometimes I still look at their wedding pictures. He looks at her, the way he used to look at me. I wanted everything, ended up with nothing. I opened the door myself, and everything walked out.